Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100's Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host, Logan Landers. Today, I'm doing an NCAA Game 1, Week 1 preview between the Boise State Broncos and the Oregon State Beavers. So if you enjoy this video or this podcast, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. We go live each and every single week on Facebook and YouTube. Click for show on Instagram at 100's Football. Our LinkedIn page as well if you want to connect with us on a professional level. And, of course, our podcast. We're on any major podcast streaming platform, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or wherever it is you listen to your podcast. We are available each and every single day with over 1,000 episodes over there and well over 1,000 plus on Facebook and on YouTube. So without further ado, let's get into this NCAA Week 1 preview. Boise State, Oregon State. It is going to be a great game between these two. College football is right around the corner. This game kicks off September the 3rd at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so a little bit later if you're on the East Coast. But it's college football, man. I think we'd all want to stay up a little bit in Week 1 and watch as much as we can. So let's get into this. Well, let's talk about Oregon State first with the Beavers. Last year's 7-6 record. Now you might think 7-6, not that, it's all right, but it's not great. Well, this team went 7 seasons without a winning season or bowl appearance, so last year was a bit of a success. But now here comes the tough part for this team and led by head coach Jonathan Smith. Can you do it again? We'll see. It remains to be seen. Can they do it one more time? Can they get a streak, right, of 2 back-to-back winning seasons? Let's talk about this team on the offensive side first. They were pretty balanced, right? Did go with the passing game, the running game. Offensive line was really good at preventing sacks, and overall a really good team. The real key to this team is the depth, right? They have some good parts, and I think that even if some guys might go down with injury, I think they're going to be fine. Chance Nolan, right? He did really solid in the passing game. He ran well, threw for over 2,600 yards, had 19 touchdowns. Needs to cut down on the interceptions, though. Had 10 picks last year. But he settled in. He's good with Tristan Gebbia as well as a backup right behind him. And leading receiver, right, you lost Trevon Bradford. He is no longer with the team. And also with Zurich Beeson as well, he's gone. And Champ Flemings is currently in the transfer portal. But I think that they can sustain. Trayshawn Harrison, right, he's going to be probably the guy to take that next big step. Tight end Luke Musgrave will probably be one of the team's best receivers. And also Tyjon Lindsey is probably going to be expected to have a bigger role this upcoming season. The offensive front, right? You get back 3 of its starters. We're going to shuffle around a little bit. Joshua Gray, as we all know, and also fellow Pac-12 blocker Brandon Kipper are going to be looking good there. I think the group overall, it was pretty good. Last year it was 4th in the nation in terms of fewest tackles for loss allowed, and it was 7th in sacks allowed. So they are definitely a powerhouse when it comes on the line of scrimmage. Once again, for Chance Nolan, right? He has the leg strength. He has the speed to get around. If there ever is any pressure, he can really get it going. Looking at the backfield, you got freshman Damian Martinez, who's expected to be the number 1 option this upcoming season, with Deshaun Fenwick and Trey Lowe, who are going to be the backup. Both of those gentlemen combined for over 800 yards and 5 scores last season. So I think the offense should be fine with an experienced offensive line. You did lose some receivers. You have a solid quarterback who, as long as he can cut down on the interceptions, he'll be fine. So I'm expecting some good work with this Oregon State offense. The defense is what really hampered this team and what really had them lose a few crucial games and what have them at that 7-6 record, not maybe 9 and have 9 wins, maybe 10 wins, who knows. But they did finish 9th overall in the Pac-12. They didn't have much of a pass rush. The secondary wasn't there at all last season. But on the plus side, you do have some guys with some really good leadership, some really good experience with a lot of returning players. The secondary, right? The secondary that gave up 244 yards per game last year, they did have 4 guys for all Pac-12 honorable mentions. And the talent is there, right? You have Jaden Grant, pro prospect at the safety. He had 71 tackles last season. Then you have the tag team, right? The corner tandem of Rajon Wright and Alex Austin, who are going to be some playmakers as well. The front 3, right? They're going to be playing around with personnel, just kind of flipping things around, seeing what works. You have Simon Sandberg. He's the main guy at the end spot with Isaac Hodgins as well as when he's healthy, right? Hopefully he's on the field as much as he can be. with James Rawls as well getting some time also. You do lose Avery Roberts, your leading tackler. He's gone. But you do have Omar Spates behind him, who's going to be expected to step up. He's a strong vet. He came off a fantastic 89 tackle season last year. And the outside is going to get a nice boost as well with a Florida transfer in Andrew Chatfield, who's going to be a factor after he didn't even play last season. So, he is chomping at the bits to get on the football field. If Oregon State wants to win this game, this upcoming game against Boise State, what they need to do is, I think, for one, be more consistent with the passing game, limit turnovers, right? If you throw the ball well, you're fine. If you can hit with a good completion percentage, if you can eliminate a good bit of turnovers, keep it down. Maybe 1 would be great. 2 is a little bit risky, but just keep down your turnovers and make sure you can have a nice completion percentage with some easy passes week 1. As for the defense, we all know that defense is a little bit tougher. It takes usually a few weeks for teams to really get in the groove. And for a team who had a rough defense last year, you can't afford that in this game against Boise State. You have to really limit third down conversions. They were rough at it last year. Teams converted 50% of the third down chances last year. That is not good enough. And I think if they can do that, I think they'll be fine. And I'm expecting Oregon State to come out the gates hot in this matchup. Well, let's move it over to Boise State with the Broncos by head coach Andy Avalos, who had a 7-5 record last year. Once again, nothing too crazy. And let's talk about this team, right? Last year, it was technically the worst season in terms of winning records and whatnot since 98, so it's been quite some time. But they did not have a losing season. In fact, they have not had a losing season. When I was looking this team up, they haven't had a losing season since 1997. That's almost 25 years, I mean, that's insane. So fantastic job, but a bit of a down year, right? Let's talk about this team. The offense, the running game has to get it going, man. The offense for Boise State's really always been good. That's kind of just what they're known for, is a good offense, a really good defense. But they just couldn't get it going with the ground game last year. And the O-line was all right. It struggled to generate a good push, right? And it finished 110th in the country in terms of ground game. That ain't going to fly. So you got good size. You got some options you can work around with, some pretty good depth as well. And maybe just playing around with some of the offensive line, just moving some guys in and out. I think you got to find some guys who can get you that push to get you some more yardage. The backs, right? We're talking about the running backs, guys who are going to be running for the yards. Andrew Van Buren, he's transferred out. But you do have George Holani. He's terrific whenever he gets in a nice rhythm. And you have some backups behind him, not that tested. We're not sure how they're going to fit, but I think that give them a little bit of easy snaps, some easy catches, whatnot. I think they'll be fine, but I'm expecting Holani to have a good season. The running game, right? Once again, Hank Backmeyer, he's back at quarterback. And once he's healthy, man, I think he's a very solid difference maker. He's been around. He's been in the game for quite some time now, a vet. And I think that he is going to have another decent season. I'm not expecting Heisman Trophy candidacy or nothing, but I think he'll do what he's expected to do. Receiving core is not that much of a concern either. Khalil Shakir, he is off. He's with the Buffalo Bills at this time. And you do have a good bit of guys. You do lose some top pass catchers. They're gone, or, it's going to be a little bit rough. But I think with Bachmeier and with the running game, I think that they can suffice for that. And I think they'll be all right. The defense, it was pretty good last year. Nothing too crazy, but it needs to be better to live up to this team's standards. Wasn't that consistent. It did leave the conference in scoring defense, though, which is nice to see. And the linebacking core. You're losing Riley Wimpy. That last name don't mean nothing. That guy ain't no wimp. But you get a 240-pounder, Ezekiel Noah, a veteran, an absolute just banger. Someone's going to just lay the wood, hit a shoulder on you, and put you down on the ground. He's coming in to help out. Scott Matlock as well, all Mountain West interior pass rusher, is coming to help out as well. However, the secondary needs to get things going again, man. I think if they can really just kind of mimic what they kind of did last year, I think they'll be set. Safety J.L. Skinner, all-around defender, can do whatever you need. Led the team in tackles and tackles for loss last season at the safety spot. That's crazy. You know how much coverage, how much ground he has to make up? And also Tyreek Jones, a good tackler, good run supporter. He can do whatever you need him to do, honestly, a gadget player. The defense had 13 interceptions last season, pretty much all of them from the secondary with the corners and with the safeties. You're returning Caleb Biggers and Tyreek LeBeouf. both of those corners are going to be looking good. I'm expecting good things from this Boise State defense. Some things that they need to really get going, I think, is get the offense in a good rhythm. And hopefully the defense can do what it did last year, help you out, and get some good stops. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a little bit of a closer game. It's two franchises, two schools, two teams who had a bit of a down year last year in terms of record-wise, and two teams who are looking to prove themselves in week one against each other. So I want this one to be a very close matchup. I have this one being a one-touchdown game. The winner, who I think will get this one, I was thinking about this. I was thinking, man, this is going to be tough to see, but I am going to go with the Boise State Broncos getting the win in this one in a bit of a higher scoring game, but still close nonetheless. I'm going to go Boise State 35 and Oregon State. I'll go Oregon State 28. 35-28, just 7 points between these teams, and I think it's going to be a phenomenal matchup. I'm expecting some great football week one from both of these schools, but I want to hear it from you. Put in the comments who will win this game, who's going to be the final score, who's going to be the MVP of this ball game. I would love to talk to y'all in the comments on Facebook and YouTube, or you can even go to our podcast. Leave us a review. Put in, if you want us to do a certain game preview for a team that you're a fan of, put it in the comments, and we will put it in our schedule as soon as we can. So we go live each and every single week on Facebook and YouTube, CliffSwitcher on Instagram, and, of course, our podcast you can listen to every single day. Spotify, Apple Podcast, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Overcast, Google Play, anywhere you listen to these, you can find us. Even Alexa or Google Home device, that works as well. Just talk to it. Say, hey, Alexa, hey, Google, play 100 football, and it will, thanks to the great ways of technologies nowadays. I've been your host today, Logan Landers, talking about the week one preview between Boise State and Oregon State. Hey, like I said, drop a comment who you think's going to win. But until then, we will talk to you again on